I think, yeah, I think a lot of people um, get confused by the language of privacy. Um, they think of sort of privacy as an individual right. But privacy is an individual right that derives from the collective right. One of the common attacks against privacy, which arises or originates from Nazi Germany with Joseph Goebbels, their minister of propaganda, was if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Well, why were the Nazis trying to pry the door open into everybody's life? It was so that they could discriminate one person from the other. They could sort of divide and conquer. Go, let's separate this person, analyze them, assess them. You know, do they have a religion that we don't approve of? Do they have a race we don't approve of? Do they have associations we don't approve of? And then they could act against them, separate from the collective, by going one at a time, right? And then you automate, you systematize the process, and you can affect it at scale. Now, if the only way that works, the only way that worked back then was if the collective was persuaded and go, well, I have nothing to hide. I'm not doing anything wrong. So I'll give up my privacy. I will cooperate with this system, perhaps not knowing, or maybe knowing but not caring, that in doing so, they are exposing their neighbor. Because if everybody says, no, pack sand, I'm not going to cooperate with this, now you have to deal with the collective as one group. What happens is when they fracture the solidarity of this common right to privacy, we become vulnerable to discrimination. And I think when you look at how to correct for this, what you want to do is largely make this, you want to, primarily what you want to do is remove the vulnerability or remove the position of vulnerability that occurs when people are put on the spot and asked by someone in a position of authority, will you waive your privacy for us in order to pass through this gate or whatever? They have something you want, and they say, in order for you to get this, you have to take your clothes off, basically, digitally, electronically, or physically. In order to establish yourself to us. And when you sort of submit yourself to that system and they go, okay, we'll let you through, you get the thing that you want. But by doing that, by collaborating with that kind of system, you are harming your neighbor and everybody else who may have something to hide, or maybe they don't have anything to hide. Maybe they don't haven't ever done anything wrong, but you simply know they would be mistreated by the system. The system would be prejudiced against them, or they would be discriminated against in a negative way, rather than the positive discrimination that you experience by going, okay, you're what the system wants, come on through. The way we fix this is to either remove the gates, which as of right now is largely sort of beyond our capability because it's large organized institutions that are establishing and guarding the gates. But we can also make people indistinguishable as they pass the gates. And what we can do is we can limit the number of gates that have the power, that have the authority, that have the leverage to really force people to submit themselves to these intrusive processes. And that is privacy by design. That is privacy by default. That's where when you pass through these gates, there's not even a point of interaction where you can be asked. It's simply person after person after person after person going down the highway in identical vehicles, identical cars with windows that you can't simply gaze through. Right? What we are trying to change is we are being forced today, not given a choice, but forced to live in a world of open windows, where there's any number of corporate or governmental institutional powers that are peering through them all day. And some of them are bold enough to actually place devices in our homes. That are listening to us all the time. You say, okay, Siri, or hey, Alexa. Each year, the intrusion gets deeper and deeper into our open homes, into our open windows, until we're no longer allowed to close them. A privacy by design, um, is simply a way to give people control over their own curtains.